Hello guys, Cyberdragon here, and I'm recording the 1 year anniversary of my channel. So firstly, it's obviously not quite there, but it's 2 to 3 days before the actual anniversary. I was hoping to get my microphone set up, but that didn't really happen, and I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to switch over to new computer systems to get that more functional. But otherwise, I will be doing this part. I want to thank you all for the year support that you've given me so far. We are at, as of currently, I believe 1.17k. Yes, 1.17k. Which is amazing within 1 year that I have that many. I didn't think I would get that many. I was hoping just to get 1,000 in general from, barely even that. But from all you guys supporting me, I want to thank you all. And I will say more at the end, so that you guys can just get to this what if one shot part. We will be doing another part of version of this. If he had Doomsday's powers, not was Doomsday, that's the difference. Because he will be a mindless monster in this one, basically. So, but yeah, let's start. We start with Dr. Ujiko, testing Deku for if he has a quirk. Alright, young man, stay still for a second while I scan you. Okay, doctor. As Ujiko is scanning Deku, looking to see if he has a quirk, his thoughts. I wonder if you have a good quirk. When the machine dings, signifying it's done, he looks at the results. Quirkless? What a shame. What's this? As Ujiko looks at the scanner more and sees Deku has the perfect body and genetic makeup to make up for a certain project. Is it my quirk? Yes. As Ujiko is sending a text to Kurogiri. What is it? I'll tell you in a sec, but I'll be right back. So stay here, and there's a need to bring your mother. So Deku waits patiently while Ujiko gets Inko. They eventually walk back in. So, what is it? Well, right now you don't have one. But you will soon. As Ujiko pulls a gun out with a suppressor on it, shoots Inko in the back of the head. Inko falls down, dead. Deku screams out in horror and shock, and is currently crying. As Ujiko wipes the blood off his coat, don't bother screaming, the room is soundproof. But now, Kurogiri, take the boy to my lab. Yes, doctor. Mom! As that's the last words Deku said. Could anyone hear as Kurogiri took him away? Well, on to the next client. As Ujiko walks out, doing the rest of his job. And with Deku, who gets warped into a room with nothing in it, just a plain-looking white room. Where am I? What's going on? Why are you doing this to me? Koge doesn't say anything and he just warps himself out, leaving Deku alone. And Deku couldn't do anything but huddle up in a corner and cries. As time passes, days turn into weeks. And Ujiko finally came back, stepping into the white room. Hello, Midoriya. Why are you doing this to me? Why did you kill my mommy? So she wouldn't report you missing, or ask questions, etc. As for why I'm doing this, the scan showed you have the perfect genetic makeup for a little project I'm working on. Project? Yes, now. So, as Ujiko takes note, we start Project Doomsday right now. As Ujiko steps aside to reveal a man in a black suit with red eyes and white hair. And the aura he gives off is immediately intimidating. Deku couldn't even make a sound. He was overwhelmed with terror. The man didn't utter a word as he got closer to Deku, but he had a grin on his face as he puts a hand on Deku's head. As he finally speaks, you will be the Doomsday of all heroes in this world, and I can't wait for that day to come. As Deku feels an immense amount of pain as all one arm glows red, and insert a quirk. The first quirk, evolution. It does nothing yet on its own, but it will do more later. All-for-One took his hand off Deku's head and walked out. Have fun, Doctor. As Ujiko smiled as the wall closes, and Deku was left alone in the white room again. As Deku thought, what did he do to me? But he didn't have much time to think, as another wall opens up, and out comes two Nomus. Deku's scared because he never seen anything like them. As Deku is telling them to get away, but as the intercom activates, begin. So, Generation 1 test. Nomu 1, kill the boy. As the Nomu's eyes narrow to Deku and rushes at him, raising his arm and fist up, slamming them onto Deku over and over again. Deku cries out in pain as this goes on, but slowly is getting used to it, although he's not healing from it. The Nomu grabbed both Deku's arms and legs and ripped him in half. Then the Nomu should drop both parts onto the ground. First test was as expected. We need to add a regeneration quirk with him. Possibly hyper regeneration will do. And Max will with evolution. Max will. But I must stitch him back up first. Ujiko walks back inside, picking up both pieces of Deku and throwing him on a table, stitching him up and throwing him in the tube. Where Ujiko then grabbed a giant hose and plugged into the tube, injecting some liquid inside of it. And it starts to regrow parts of Deku. And now he presses a button while smiling, electrocuting through the tube as it reawakened Deku. And is now scarier than ever. Not only because he just died, but that they have a way to bring him back to make it Do it again and again. Izuku smiles and presses a button, and a hatch opens up inside the tube, and it sends Deku down the tube and falls into the white room again. As the intercom comes on again. Generation 1, Test 2. Begin. No, please, I don't want this. As the walls open up and two Nomus walk in. Kill him. As the Nomus rush at Deku, beat him down again and again. As Deku feels his bones breaking and his flesh torn, but it would all regenerate, only to be broken again. Eventually, Deku passed out and won't wake up. That is enough for today. The Nomus stop. Ujiko once again walked into the room where he was left Deku, throwing him back into the tube and injecting him with more quirks, and electrocuting him again, as he did. This time it was super strength, and due to evolution it quickly adapted to it, so his mind wouldn't go as blank like the Nomus. And this would happen again and again, injecting more and more quirks into him. Another quirk being super strength, speed, and other sorts of quirks. This process would continue for 10 years straight. And while the quirks didn't make him mindless, the constant death revival took a toll onto his mental. Even the quirk's evolution adapted to all the quirks and fused into one mega quirk that could even rival one for all and all for one. Even so, the hero over in America, Stars and Stripes quirk. And the constant death and revival made him have a hatred for all life and all who was in it. As now we cut to the lab, where Deku, who no longer looks all human, ripped off the head of the Hood Nomu, as Izuku laughs. Excellent! You're powered enough to take on the high-end Nomus. As Deku just stands in the middle of the room silent, dropping the Hood Nomu's head, and looks at the camera. Now, return to your tube for today, and we will be done. As Deku walks over to the wall, that is also a door, and rips it open, walks out of the room. It was wrong. Well, this is bad. Better make sure nothing happens. Better call him here in case. As he presses a button, alerting All for One. And Izuku can hear sounds of steel doors being ripped open, walls being busted down, and the sounds getting louder and closer. Crap, I'll have to send all my Nomus I got left here. As he presses a button that releases all the Nomus to buy him time. As the Nomus rushes down the halls and to the noise, as Ujiko plans to escape, thinking that he should have plenty of time. They're all high-end Nomus that should have no issues. Hell, they even might stop Doomsday in its tracks until he can hear the sounds of the Nomus screaming and screeching. So Ujiko tries to call Kurogiri, but before he calls, a huge rumble makes Ujiko fall and drop his phone. And without his cane. Shit! As he starts to crawl towards his phone and goes to reach for it, but a huge foot stomps on the phone. As Ujiko looks up to see him holding one of the Nomu's spine, and at the end of it is the head of a Nomu. As Deku growls at Ujiko and dropping the head. Doomsday! Listen, I'm your master. I am as Deku grabs Ujiko by the back of his shirt and holds him up by it. Why are you doing this? You should be obeying me. As Deku looks Ujiko dead in the eye. Wait, oh my god. You remember? Listen, I can... As Deku punches through Ujiko's chest, Ujiko spits a large amount of blood out that could even rival All Might in his skinny form. Deku only let out a growl as he punched his other arm into the hole of Ujiko's chest, ripping him in half. As the last words Ujiko uttered was, "Why?" before he dies. Deku looks at the body and starts to walk away, anywhere deeper into the facility. So, it wandered around endlessly, and the world could have been spared from what is about to happen if someone didn't go in to check. But unfortunately, someone did. As a portal opens up, as All for One walks out. Doctor, where did you press the emergency button for? As he looks around to see Dr. Ujiko and all the Nomus of the place all dead. My now. It seems that our little Doomsday project is on the loose. So, as All for One thinks about what he should do, he hears heavy footsteps, and they're getting closer. As All for One waits to see who it is, to see Doomsday enter the room. If it isn't Izuku Midoriya, or what we call you now, Doomsday. Deku doesn't utter a word or even a growl. A thing only rushes at All for One with blinding speed. All for One was about to fire air cannon, but feels his arm not there anymore as he looks down to what it once was, feeling an immense pain as he looks at it. This could be a problem. As Deku, who is holding All for One's arm currently, clutches it. So, all the bone and blood fragments poured out. And Deku threw another punch at All for One's mask, shattering it, sending him through several walls. All for One could hardly breathe, but saw Deku walking towards him. In an attempt, he fires a charged up air cannon, putting a hole through Deku's chest. Deku falls over and onto the ground. As All for One sighed a quick sigh of relief, but was quickly shot as the hole grew fast back. Deku gets up and the hole fills in with a spike growing over his chest as armor. All for One, who knows he's in trouble, aims his hand up and shoots air cannon, making a hole out of this facility and into the city, where All for One jumps and tries to get away. But Deku was now released. All for One now just released Doomsday. Deku jumps out of the facility, following All for One. All for One, who's keep firing air cannon as he's using Airwalker to try to escape, causing some collateral damage and heroes to get over that. But the only damage All for One is doing is making Deku stronger, growing more spikes from his body, and air cannon losing all its effect. As Deku jumps at All for One, who is trying to think on what to do to get him out of here, a fist goes through his chest. The shock hits him, but he can comprehend on what happened before. Deku opens his mouth and bites down on the head of All for One, making the head explode inside Deku's mouth. As Deku drops the body of All For One, yelling, roaring out, as several civilians start to scream in horror. But Deku looks at all the civilians, and he charges at the people, starts to slaughtering them all. He stabs through them, ripping them to piece, until 3 heroes arrive to see the slaughter. Those 3 being Death Arms, Kamui Woods, and Mount Lady. Woods, wasting no time to stop the monster from killing any more innocent people, and rushes in, using his capture move, like a chain prison, to capture Deku. But Deku simply grabs the branches that Kamui launched at him, swinging him through a few buildings, and then he drags Woods closer as he was unconscious, grabbing him by the neck and lifting him up. Woods, who is barely conscious, sees a spike grows on Deku's fist as he punches Woods in the chest. And in response to this, Mount Lady and Death Arms attack at the same time. Death Arms throwing a car at him, while Mount Lady just uses a fist, as both hit Deku, sending him into a shop. As they go to their dying friend. Woods! Stay with us, Woods! As Death Arms is holding on to the dying Wood. As he dies and goes limp and to Death Arms' arms. As Death Arms yells at Woods. Before Mount Lady and Death Arms could grieve or gather themselves, they hear a scream and sees Doomsday walking out of the building, holding a dead shopkeeper. As Death Arms look at Deku, pissed off, he rushes at him. You bastard! And throws a punch at Deku. But Deku growls, throws his spike on his fist, and throws a punch as well, stabbing Death Arms right in the fist, then goes deep into his arm. As Death Arms screams in pain, Deku grabs Death Arms' neck and ripping the head off. So, without any mercy. Mount Lady, seeing both her friends die, goes as big as she can to stomp on Deku. She thought she got him until she felt her leg being lifted up. Deku uses the strength to push Mount Lady's foot off him and sends her back. Then Deku jumps up and slams both fists onto Mount Lady's knee, breaking it. Mount Lady screams out in pain as Deku would jump up and grow more spikes on his fist, and starts punching Mount Lady in the head over and over again, and start to burrow into her brain. Mount Lady would scream out in pain as she feels him tearing apart her brain, and is bleeding out of the hole of her eyes, mouth, ears, and the hole Deku made, and falls over dead, crushing buildings in her fall, as Deku would come out of her head, roaring in victory as he stood on top of her corpse, until a fire spear hit him straight on, sending Deku back, as he would look up to see who threw the fire, to see Endeavor and several other heroes already on the scene, one of them also being her sidekick, Bernard. Jesus, sir. This guy just killed them, just like that. I know, but don't let your guard down. We must take him down before more destruction is caused. Right, but As Bernard was about to say, a sudden spike goes through her head, in between her eyes. Bernard! As she falls over dead. Flash fists? Hell spider! As Deku rushes at Endeavor with blinding speed, tanking the attack. So, prominence? Before he could finish what he was about to say, Deku shoves his whole arm in down Endeavor's throat, ripping out Endeavor's internal organs out of Endeavor's mouth, roaring again as the world just saw the number 2 hero die. All the heroes were shocked that he killed him so easily. While some stayed and fight, others ran in fear. In reality, running was the best choice, as the others who tried to stay and fight were killed in seconds. And this is all being broadcast everywhere, as all heroes are seeing this. Civilians, villains, heroes, even at UA. And all my seeing this wonders what happened, and why he can see the dead body of All For One, and other heroes there too. But as more time continues, more heroes than anyone really is getting slaughtered. And Nezuko, also seeing the situation, decided to act. As he called upon 2 trusted UA teachers, that being All Might and Aizawa. What is the All Might? Aizawa, you both know why you are here, don't you? We need to stop that monster who's terrorizing the streets. Correct. Before more innocent people's lives die. As they are talking, though, we cut back to the scene of Doomsday's rampage. And there is 2 people standing on top of a building. A man covered in hands, all of his body, and a man made out of mist. As Shigaraki, scratching his neck. Kurogiri, what is that thing he killed? What is that thing? Is that the thing that killed Master? I am not sure, but I heard what he told me. He was a project by Ujiko and he got contacted by him not too long ago to see what he was going on. So a very powerful Nobu, perhaps. Kurogiri, I have an idea. Send that thing to UA. Yes. But what will we do after? It likely destroy UA. I don't know. So, one thing at a time. Very well. This might not end well, though. Who cares, as long as we aren't near. So, as Deku's killing, a portal opens under him, landing at the UA grounds. As the alarms goes off. So, intruder alert. Villains on the school grounds. As Deku's wondering what is going on, well, what left he could, as the Big 3 was around there at that time. Hey, is that the intruder? As Deku looks up to see Midoriya and growls. Stand your guard, he seems tough. Yeah, but as Tamaki was about to talk, Deku rushed at them, grabbing Midoriya by the hand, lifting her up. Midoriya screams, but as Deku grabs her legs and rips it off. Both Tamaki and Miria yells at Midoriya. Miria phases to them and attacks Deku, managing to get Midoriya away from him briefly at the moment. but Deku throws a punch at both Mirio and Nidori. As Mirio phases through the punch, but Nidori gets her head punched off her own body. As both Mirio and Tamaki was horrified and shocked to see what just happened to their best friend. So, as Deku grabs Nidori's hair with her head attached still, swinging it around and hitting Tamaki's head with it, exploding both on impact. At this point, Mirio breaks down in tears and rage as he yells out his special attack, Phantom Menace. But none of the attacks did anything, as Deku just throws a backhand at blinding speed, and Mirio, who can react, as Deku swings Mirio's jaw clean off his face, killing him. But Deku couldn't sit. But before Deku could do anything else, President Mike screams out using his quirk, yelling, "Yeah!" as Deku is stunned, covering his ears. He killed them all in a short amount of time. I know. As Aizawa using his quirk on Deku. He's dangerous. And this is the same guy who killed all those heroes and civilians. And Endeavor. What? Yeah. Me and All Might were about to go and fight him. But now he's here. I don't know how he got here so fast. Or why he's here. I know we need to take him out now. And because of Mike Soundwave is kicking up some dust onto Aizawa's eyes, Aizawa no longer cancels Deku's quirks, and evolution takes effect. Deku's starting to get used to the sound waves and starts walking up to Mike. Now, they're not realizing he is because of this dust cloud. But as Deku gets to them, Deku claps his hand, making a shockwave that sends all the three heroes that was there off their feet. As Deku starts to walk to Mike, grabs him by the face and lifts him up, and then crushes his head in his hands. And slowly both Midnight and Aizawa can see near Mike's head slowly being crushed. He dies in Deku's hand. Both yelling out a no, and Deku looking at both of them, walking closer to him. Who are you? What do you want? As Deku finally utters his first words in years. I am your Doomsday! As Deku grabs Midnight, digging his claws into her body and lifting her up. As Midnight screams out of pain, trying to use her quirk, Deku just had no effect on him. He'd been exposed to any kind of chemical gas out there too, not just Nomu's. He rips out her ribcage, instantly killing Midnight. As Aizawa yells her name, Aizawa throws his scarf at Deku. Deku catches it and swings Aizawa onto a tree, breaking him. Walking over to Aizawa, to broken Aizawa, and stomps over him again and again. So, as Aizawa looks at Deku, and his face split open as Deku both spikes on his fists, slamming into his eyes, ripping his head in half. Izuku would go to the UA building, start to slaughter any students that are in his wake, eventually busting into the 1A door down. 1A gets into a defense as Bakugo is the first to attack, yelling out, "Die!" as Deku shoves a spike through his throat. Bakugo, in a last-ditch effort, throws a large explosion he can at Deku. Everyone thought Bakugo did it until the smoke cleared, and Deku stood there without any scratches. Deku ripped Bakugo's head off and dropped his body there, and the head too. The next attack was sent by Todoroki, freezing Deku in place, but the ice is already starting to crack. Run! Everyone starts to run to the other door, but then they hear the sound of the ice breaking and the wall breaking down, to see Deku in the hallway, and to see Todoroki being held by his hair, as Momo yells, "Todoroki! Go!" As Deku rips Todoroki in half, finally splitting the dual hair-colored teen in half. Everyone watches in horror as two of the strongest students in 1A was taken down. All except for two. So, Kirishima and Momo. "You guys try to get out of here. We got this." As Momo makes several cannons and fires them at Deku. "Quickly, run to 1B. We got this." As the cannons shoots constantly making the hallway smoke, 1A runs, leaving Momo and Kirishima behind to defend. Kirishima the one to run in, hardening up, thinking this can buy them enough time, with Momo also making some special cannons as well, like cannonballs as well. Deku starts to fight with Kirishima, punching him onto the ground. It helps. Kirishima can last a bit, but not too long, as the first punch is already cracking him up. And Momo thinks it was a time for a good shot, shooting at Deku, as Deku lifts up Kirishima, using him as a shield, which was the cannonball opens up, opening several flashbangs, blinding both Kirishima and Deku. So Kirishima, as Momo fires some more specialty cannonballs. Some other things in them too. One had a very large net inside of it to trap Deku for the moment. But another one had small explosives. But it really did was hurt Kirishima, and Deku just took Bakugo's explosions completely fine, as he just rips out of the net. As Momo yells out Kirishima's name, Kirishima was bloody, broken, and blind from Momo's onslaught of attacks. She thought that the crimson-haired kid could withstand it, since he withstand Bakugo's explosion. But the pain Deku put him through weakened his hardening and made him weakened severely and hurt him. As Deku lifts up Kirishima, stabbing a spike through Kirishima's chest, impaling him to the wall. As Deku turns to look at Momo, Momo fired another flashbang and even a smoke grenade on Book, and Book it out of there as fast as she could. but Deku was adapted to the flashbang and runs after her. Momo was able to make it to the 1B room, where 1A remainings of 1A was at, as she shuts the door behind her, and is breathing quite heavily. Umuraka was the first to speak. Did you lose him? I think so. As she said that, an arm went through the door and through her stomach. Everyone screams as they see Momo falling lifeless, dead, as Deku smashes the door down. That Monoma decides if you want to beat the thing, he has to copy its quirks. As he gets an inch away from touching him, only to get backhanded out the window. Deku growls and gets closer to the scared and horrified students. As Kendo, Tetsu stands up there with Ida and Kaminari. You'll try to find a way out. Get some help from teachers. We will handle this from here. But you all die! We all know the risk, and what it means to be a hero. As the 1A students try to figure out a way, and 1B students try to figure out a way, Deku grabs Ida, smashing him onto the ground and throwing him out the window. So, all the students decide to use the broken windows as the 3 remaining students who were fighting Deku stayed behind. Kaminari, using his specialty move, 1.000,000 volt shot, Kaminari uses everything he got at Deku. Deku falls over onto the ground, not being used to being electrocuted like that. Did it work? Yeah. Before anything, Kaminari's face was grabbed. So as Deku rips the head off of Kaminari and stands above them all. Guess not. It doesn't matter. Everyone got out now. We just have to buy time so we can escape, or for them, or for us to not die. I'm not liking the options here, but I'll try my best. As Tetsu runs it, as Kendo yells no, as Tetsu hardens up and throws a punch at Deku, but Deku grabs him and rips him easily in half. He wasn't as sturdy as Kirishima, but Deku has ripped through steel before. As Kendo throws a normal size palm strike, which he caught in his large hand, but Deku isn't phased as he proceeds to rip her arm off, with her hand became enlarged at that very moment. Kendo screamed out of pain and holding on to where her arm used to be. Deku holds the arm up and slams it onto Kendo's, splatting her blood everywhere. As that happened, he starts to get pulled by something. As he looks, he sees 13 using black hole and with Snipe nearby her, who is shooting at Deku's leg, making Deku stumble a little as black hole is pulling, as he's being pulled by black hole. As he grabs a piece of Tetsu and throws it at 13. 13 stopped using black holes, since it was a dead one, but still, while Snipe shoots Deku in the kneecaps. But Deku grew spikes on the kneecaps, and the bullets became useless as Deku runs at them full force. But before anything, they heard Detroit smash as Deku gets sent out of the building and to the field below. All Might, get out of here and take the students quickly. We're abandoning UA? I'm afraid so. We were too late to save them, as 13 tears up as she can close the top half of Tetsu's eyes. I know, but I promise I'll defeat him and make sure no other students, die on my watch. As All Might jumps where Deku's at, under the field. Why are you doing this? Randomly attacking. As Deku just roars and rushes at All Might. All Might and him clashing, holding each other back. So, we're just going straight at this, eh? As Deku just roars and throws him. As All Might was thrown, he was able to catch himself, but Deku was right in front of him and proceeds to punch him again. As All Might was able to hold him off, and Deku started to punch back, they both were in a punching stalemate, like in the USJ with Deku, All Might in the Nomu. But All Might was getting worn down as his time is getting shorter. As his thoughts, I need to end this. He is a normal person. He killed all for one, and so many civilians, heroes, and children. I will finish this now. As All Might pushes Deku back, and channeling remaining of One for All through his fist, yelling out, United States of Smash! Sending Deku flying away and into several buildings. As All Might is huffing and puffing, that is the end of that. Now too, as All Might saw Deku rushing back like nothing happened, All Might was shocked and horrified, and was ready to attack until Deku hits All Might in his weak spot, vomiting up blood. Please, stop this. As Deku only grows spikes, ripping it off of All Might in half. Deku then heard the students there running away from UA, and said Deku runs to the north. As the teachers were evacuating the UA students, seeing Deku rushing at them. Snipes proceed to shoot him, but the bullets just bounce off as he grabs Snipe, crushing him into bloody. Just all bloody. Little flesh remained. As Deku felt getting pulled again by 13's black hole, as it starts to suck him in closer. Deku jumps at 13 with his hand getting pulled into the hole. Deku shoves a spike through 13's head as the hole closes up on Deku's arm, so taking it off. But his arm just quickly grew back, and he rushes at the other students, starting to slaughter them. None of the students survived, or what was left of the teachers. And we cut to Nezu in his office as tears fall down his face, as he knows all his students are dead, all the heroes are dead, all his friends are dead. See his heavy footsteps, Deku walks into the room. Came to finish what was left. Just do it, you monster. As Nezu got a spike right through his chest. Nezu looks out to what was left of UA to see all the slaughtered students, teachers, and every he worked so hard was destroyed as he closed his eyes and died. Deku walks out, leaving Nezu dead on the ground. Heroes arrive to try and help, but only to get slaughtered. So, some of these prominent heroes being the first one being Ryuko, who was the first here, and to get her head ripped off in her dragon form. Miyako was next. She put up a pretty decent fight, but Deku just ripped both her legs off and crushed his skull beneath his feet. Hawks survived with a few the remaining of the top 10, but they didn't last any longer, as Deku just rips Hawks' wings off and stabs him through the chest. As we now skip to Deku when he around killing everyone. Every hero, villain, and civilian. It doesn't matter. We destroy his mental liberation army, try to fight with whatever was left of any army, heroes, association members, or anything. It didn't matter if they ruled Japan, if everyone's dead. But it was a slaughter. Everyone was killed in horrific ways. And all 100,000 people were sent to fight were all killed. Destro tried to as well, but to no effect. And his head was just ripped off his own body too. Deku's rampage continued, finding himself in the Chihei Saikai building underneath. Boss, we need to run! The freak found us and killing everyone! So, quickly, get me and Eri out of here. I'm sure we have time. As he says that, as half of Rappa is thrown down the hall, and Deku smashes down the wall. Mimic. Quickly! Boss, run! I'll hold him off! Overhaul, wasting no time, starts to run. But Mimic's pathetic attempt of holding Deku off didn't last long, as Overhaul could hear Mimic scream from down the hall, and heavy footsteps getting closer. Overhaul turns around and tries to touch the ground, but only gets a spike through his chest, as Overhaul vomits blood and leaks from the mask. Deku growls and put both his fists through Overhaul's eyes, digging deep into his skull. Overhaul quickly screams out in pain, but dies shortly after. Deku dropping the body of Overhaul and is about to walk out, until he hears crying. Deku walks to the noise and smashes down the door, and he sees a little girl crying in the corner, scared beyond belief. She can't even utter a word as the giant, blood-soaked monster stands over her. Please, don't hurt me. As Deku didn't say a thing and just raised his fist in the air. And as this is happening, Japan is being evacuated, even being closed off throughout the world in fear that Doomsday will spread across the world. End. God damn, right? This is our most definitely bloodiest and darkest what if we made. Again, this is why I wanted to get the mic, but still. And if you're wondering if Eri died or not, that's up to you guys. How's that part interpreted? Because that's how we wanted to leave it. But yeah, so I want to thank you all for my 1 year anniversary again. This is why we made a one-shot what if. This is what the story of if Deku was Doomsday for a guaranteed fact. Again, I'm hoping we can get bigger and stronger by the end of next year. of our next year anniversary. Since you guys overachieved my expectations, let's say by next time years of March, let's get to 3K. Can we do it, guys? Can we reach the 3K mark? It's not like I'm asking for 5K. Although, if we get to 4K, I'm not complaining. Or even more so. And guys, again, I just want to thank everyone for helping me. Because I started as so small and grew as I gone along. I will eventually grow even more throughout the years. I'm hoping to expand my content as well to gaming. Obviously, that hasn't gone very well so far, but I'm hoping to change that by next month. And I'm hoping to get my recording equipment finally set up so I can give you guys better audio quality, better stories, and just in general, a better time. And thanks to my Discord for helping me write these what ifs. Bouncing off ideas with others can definitely help. I don't think other what ifs do with like me and my Discord does. But I'm sure that anyone from Discord, thank you all for watching and supporting me. It means tremendously a lot to me. Special thanks to my two writers with me, who work with me, Mimi the Man and Super. So thank you both for helping me, and thanks Super for helping me write this what if. Although this was, we bounce ideas off each other, and this is how what ifs are like this for me. I want to thank them, and thank you all, of course. Cyber Dragon out.